Good evening, everyone. You're all very welcome to this amazing session that we're about to have. Thank you that you could take time out to join us. You're very welcome, and we appreciate you taking out this time. So I welcome you all to this to the Covenant Nation Community Groups. We are the HR Professionals Group, and I welcome you all to this webinar. So I will just start by giving a few ground rules. Please, can you ensure that we have all our mics muted? We need to also ensure that we have all our videos turned off to avoid distractions. And if you have any questions during any of the sessions, please put them in the chat box. And after each session, we'll collect the questions and take a Q&A. So thank you for joining us. Sit back and have an amazing session. Thank you. So Tosin, over to you.
Thank you, Nonso. Good evening, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me. You can put it in the chat box that you can hear me. All right, great. It's good to see everyone on the page, on the platform. Briefly, I'm just going to be introducing TCN. I'm going to be introducing some of our speakers and what this is all about. So the host of this community is the Covenant Nation. The Covenant Nation is a ministry that places strong emphasis on the personal relationship with Jesus Christ and the communion with him through the word, right? The Covenant Nation is headed by Pastor Paul Yewande. But this group is the Covenant Nation's initiative. It's the HR professional group, and it's geared towards helping human resource professionals flourish, also to help them to thrive via a supportive community, right? That's what we're doing here. We have different types of people in the group. We have entry-level professionals, we have mid-level, we have seniors in the midst. We've been privileged to have a lot of seniors in the midst, and that means we have access to many years of experience across different communities, different sector and industry. So briefly, today we're going to be listening to some speakers talk to us about how to get your foot in the door of HR, right? We have Victoria Omale. Victoria is a lead consultant, strategic workforce solutions, Bullion Group Nigeria. She's going to be speaking with us tonight. With her is Yewande Jinadu. Yewande is the founder for Career Life Nigeria. And the third female, I mean, aren't you guys so surprised that we have all female? So the third superwoman we have is Abosede Ogundiyun. She's the HR manager for Portland Paint PLC. We're going to be listening to these three powerful women share their experience, share nuggets and tips on how to get your foot in the door of HR. And I trust that they're going to also mention one or two things on how to keep your foot in the door of HR. So it's one thing to get into the door, and it's another thing to remain relevant. So we're going to be doing that. And then, well, basically, it's not supposed to be a long one. It's supposed to be a 2-session. We're just listening to the speakers talk to us. Here one day we'll talk to us about crafting a CV that wins, the good versus bad CVs. I know there was a group where talking about how to position your CV for opportunities. So once the one day is done, Victoria will be talking to us about where to look for HR internship opportunities. This is especially targeted to people who are looking to start up in human resources and people who are looking to transition into that space. And finally, we're going to be listening to Abosede talking about how to sell yourself to recruiters and potential employers. These are key tips and nuggets that we all need, whether or not you are already in the HR space. So I would employ everyone to sit back, relax, get your pen and paper, take notes, right? And then learn everything that you can from these people, from these wonderful people. You can also follow them on social media to learn more about them and about the experiences as we go on. Thank you everyone for the opportunity. And then let's just enjoy the evening. Let's enjoy this learning session and let's make the best out of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Oluwatosin, for that brief introduction. Thank you everyone once again for joining us. My name is Nibechi. So I just want to quickly share and introduce our first speaker, who is Yewande Jinadu. So please just bear with me while I quickly share my screen. So a brief intro about who Ms. Jinadu is. So Yewande is a founder of Career Life Nigeria and also a strategic HR business partner of a leading tech firm. She is a certified HR professional with a mix of generalist and specialist experience who supports the business to achieve its goals through people. Her strengths are in talent acquisition, performance management, employer engagement, organization development, and employer branding. Her social initiative, Career Life Foundation is geared towards solving UN SDG Goal 8, is aimed at reducing unemployment by helping graduates and professionals become employable and also accelerate their career growth. So with various awards won both locally and globally, her vision is to help millions of youth achieve measurable success in their career. Yewande holds a Senior Professional of Human Resource International SPHRI certification from Human Resources Certification Institute, HRCI, USA. She's an associate of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria. She's also the convener of the Employability Fitness Program, an initiative aimed at helping young graduates overcome interview phobia and the barriers in recruitment processes. Through mentoring, she's a public speaker and has been featured on various media platforms, including Bella Niger, She Leads Africa, Guardian Woman, Women of Rubies, etc. And she's also won a lot of awards in recognition of the amazing work that she's been doing for years. She's also been a winner of Top 50 Career Influencers in Africa by the Work Booth Africa magazine. She's amongst the top 10 platinum members of Career Influencers. She's among the top 150 global influencers by Social Michael. She's top 100 career women in Nigeria. This was given to her by 9 to 5 Chick, and also top 30 leading women in HR as set by Wooden HCD. So you know that, and also Miss Yewande is also going to be talking to us, as said earlier, on crafting a good CV that wins. She'll be telling us about good CVs versus bad CVs. So we know that we're in for a very exciting session. So get your pen and paper ready so you can learn as much as you can from her. Hello, Yewande, good evening. Hello, good evening. Can you hear me? Hello.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes. Okay. Firstly, thank you so much, my colleagues in this space. Before I continue, I first want to ask for permission. So they just took light, and my 3-year-old is with me. So in case you start hearing noise, please, I'm sorry about that. So I won't be sharing my screen because of that, but I'll be presenting. I'll be presenting, taking you through these slides. Okay, so I was asked to talk about starting a career in human resource, the CV aspect. Before I start, I would like to. I'm distracted. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know. Today is just a very wonderful day. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So a brief introduction. I have a background in chemical and polymer engineering. So for those that may want to start asking, okay, what did I study and all of that, and why am I in HR? So I found myself in HR. I transitioned to HR at the beginning of my career, and the rest of the introduction as well. This is what I look like, but maybe another time we can see. So what to expect? So I'll be talking mainly on three things: what recruiters are looking out for in your CV, good versus bad CV, and a sample CV of an HR professional. Right. So the first thing, so typically what recruiters are looking out for in a CV is basically the same thing with non-HR professionals, but I'll try to streamline it to relate to HR professionals. So the first thing is the minimum, please hold on.
Hello. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay, welcome back.
Yes. So the first thing is minimum educational requirements. So once a recruiter puts out an ad, right, the first thing they say is, okay, I want a BSc or an OND or an HND or an MSc. So that's the first thing I'm looking out for. Most international organizations like the UN, they're very strict with their masters, but apart from that, typically BSc and HND are treated the same thing in HR. So even if you have an HND, it really doesn't matter. So far, you can serve and everything. Another thing is, do you have the relevant technical and technological skills? So that these are things I look out for in a CV anyway. Technical skills, if it's an experience role, if I say I want a specialist, I would like to see some of the things you've done and how sound you are technically in what I've advertised for. And in terms of technology also, do you have, for example, there's some softwares that some organizations use. Can you use it? So those are some of the things, and you can typically find it in a job description. Most applicants will just see a role and immediately just jump to apply without taking out time to study what is inside the job description. Another thing also that catches my eye or typical recruiters is, do you have relevant achievements? So you really don't have to be that experienced to have achievements. Most entry-level HR people think, oh, I must have, managed 10,000 staff or have done something for me to put in an achievement. You went through school, right? So it could be related. For example, I remember I put it in my CV, I think early in my career. During my NYC, I volunteered for NCCF, and I think I held a position. And in my position, I was in charge of managing people. I led a team. I was part of a committee. So those are some things that were achievement for me, because in those committees, I was able to achieve something that had a result. So I could even use the STAR approach if they asked me during an interview. So those are some things that I would like to see in a CV that would catch my eyes. Also, the desire to do the job. Now we live in these days where everybody's passionate about HR. Everybody, when you ask them, why do you want to work in HR? I'm passionate, I love people, like really, but what effort have you put in if you claim you have a passion? So recently I was recruiting for an HR intern, and trust me, I saw CVs, entry-level role, the unemployment rate is 40%, and there are thousands of people that want to come into HR. What makes you stand out? You have a BSc, everyone does. You finished the 2-1, lots of people did. You don't have any other thing stood out for me. Not because of their grade particularly, but I could see some of the effort they've put in. I think one attended a training in a consulting firm that I know, and maybe it was like a 2 months training in HR. So here's my thought process, right? It will be easier for me to work with someone like this than someone who knows nothing about HR. So I did a phone interview, and I spoke with like 4 people. They all sounded well, but I asked basic questions, right? Okay, what do you know about HR? What do you know about recruitment? And they're like, nah, I don't know anything. I'm open to learn. I'm open to learn. Everybody's open to learn. But 1 or 2 people were like, they could just give me the foundation, right? So I'm sure they learned it from that training, and it was on their CV. And that's one of the things that, caught my eyes. So beyond saying I have passion, do the minimum. There are free courses on Allison that you can actually do, right? And also, an easy to read, well presented, correctly formatted CV is also very key. So what am I saying? Some people think they're trying to be graphics designer, and you just find out that their CV is not, you can't even read it. It's gray, it's small, everything is all looking very funny, and you're wondering, what on earth is this? I really don't have time. So when you're crafting your CV, it has to be very easy to read, and well formatted. Some fonts, the font should be uniform, not big in one, tiny in another one. And you're wondering, is this a circus or something? Also, I'm looking for a CV that fits exactly what's stated in the job description. So I think exactly would be too far stretched. You don't really have to fit exactly, but it should be close. If I advertise for someone, an HR director, minimum of 12 years, I know that you can have faith, but with 0 years or 1 year, don't even bother. But if I advertise something like 5 years, even if you have like 4 years or 3.5, that is very, very strong and quality, yeah, you can go for it. So basically, your CV, recruitment is not difficult, right? It's just look at the job ad and look at your CV. It's like saying, I give you a picture. So what recruiters do, or what HR professionals do, is this. We understand what the organization needs, right? So it's like giving you a picture to go to the market to buy something for me. We're just the people that understand the business, understand what we want, and we're going to the market to shop, right? If you're not what I think or close to what I want, you most likely will fall short. So before you just jump and send that CV, look at the job description, ask yourself, does this CV truly represent what the hiring manager has asked for? If not, what can I include in my CV that would, make a difference? Having one CV is not advisable. I'm not saying lie, but always tailor your CV to job applications, right? What I'm saying is, so in this job application, they specified someone that's maybe has recruitment experience, even though they are looking for an HR intern. So when they say recruitment experience, it doesn't really have to be in a standard organization. Maybe while you were in school, you needed a committee of people, and you needed to recruit more members to join that association. Go back and put it there and be like, oh, I was in charge of maybe recruiting more members to join, dancers club or something like that. That counts. That counts, and would even put you at a better advantage than someone that just gives me a blank CV. Yes, I went to AU. Yes, I finished the 2-1. So what have you done? What makes you different from other people, right? So the next thing we'll be looking at is good CV versus bad CV, right? So the first thing I would say, a good CV has a well-written professional summary and career objective. Now, what people ask, what's the difference between a professional summary and a career objective? A professional summary is for someone that has experience, for someone who at least has something to summarize, right? You're summarizing your professional experience. And a career objective is better for an entry-level graduate. So what should be in a career objective? So what are you looking to achieve in your career? From reading your career objective, I should know where you're going to. I don't just want to see hardworking, strong, diligent, and all of that. It's more of, I'm looking to, it should be tailored towards what you want to do, which is most likely going to be HR. And it should show your goal. It doesn't really have to have, okay, I have 10 years experience doing recruitment, doing training. It's more about maybe a graduate of this, looking to grow a rewarding career in this, with volunteer experience in this and that. Then a professional summary would have your skills, your achievements, experience and areas that you will most likely thrive at. A bad CV doesn't have any poorly written and copy someone else. So at the beginning of my career, let me just start. We most likely copy somebody else's CV. I don't know if other people can relate. When you graduate from school, you ask, Alpha, do you have CV? I have CV. I collected one from Cyber Cafe. And then I basically just copied my friend's CV. I don't know if someone had done that, at least when I was in NYSC though. And you don't change the career objective. You just change your name, you change the basic things and change nationality and all of that crap. So a bad CV would have somebody else's career objective. You should be the one to write yours for yourself. Or if someone is going to write it for you, you should read it and ensure that it properly represents you and represents, what you're trying to achieve for your career or the kind of role you're trying to go for. Career objective and professional summary should be forward thinking. You really don't have to have it now, but especially for a career objective, it's forward thinking, what you want to, your objective. Then summary is going back, summarizing. Yeah, a good CV should also have relevant technical and soft skills highlighted in the CV. That's one thing lots of people make mistake. They don't really understand. Now, I know that I want something. Why don't you help me highlight it? So now look through your CV if you don't have skills highlighted. I mean, you need to have a section for that where, for example, okay, we're in HR, so I have to use HR experience. You have recruitment experience, you have training experience, performance management, emotional intelligence, leadership. Be ready to defend these skills. Can you use Excel well? When you put Excel, rather, what makes you go above the crowd or differentiate yourself rather than just putting MS Excel? If you have advanced skills or intermediate skills, for example, you can use pivot tables, you can use VLOOKUP, put it there. I remember I got an interview once and someone said, oh, I liked your CV just because I saw that you were very good with Excel. Another person could have put MS Excel, but I stood out because I put MS Excel skills, including, features like things I know that not everyone would use. That's for advanced data management. So yes, don't shoot yourself in the foot or be too humble, right? Put it out there. Recruiters are not witches or wizards that would know everything about you if you don't put it there. So highlight it, they have a section for technical skills. Another thing is a well-formatted and arranged CV uses black fonts and are readable. Inconsistent fonts are a no-no. Trust me, you may think it's no biggie. I'm very tired, this is 3 p.m. and you're giving me a gray font. Like, I have 1,000 CVs to look at. That's if I don't decide to go to 1,000 CVs. Anyway, I would most likely have a headache looking through gray fonts. I do not like gray fonts. I will not read it. As in, it affects my eyes. I don't know about other people that have super eyes, but please use readable fonts that you look at, you be like, yes, even if somebody is blind, person can read it. It's not too big. And, when your CV is scattered here and there, it has a way of killing the vibe, right? You're not the only person applying for this job. Don't kill my vibe. You can be very good, but if your CV is already like demotivating me on a hot Thursday afternoon, you probably will not get shortlisted. Another key thing of a good CV is it has key responsibilities for every work experience. People make that mistake a lot. Yes, you worked at PwC, you worked as people advisory. What did you do there? I need to know your responsibilities. It needs to be in the right tense. So what am I saying is you worked somewhere from 2009 to 2013. It should be in past tense, not, let's say, recruiting. It is recruited, right? It should not be going through employee database. You went through. So the tense is very key for people who, I really don't want to employ an HR person that would be, blowing grammar or cannot craft a simple email. The first test I give entry-level HR, write an application letter for me. You'll be surprised. I've seen an English graduate that could not write well. And it is a big no-no. If you have that problem, you don't need to have that Cambridge English writing, or at least you should be able to write a decent email. You should be able to send an email to the CEO and the CEO will not be like, what did I just hire? No, who did I just hire? So from your CV, I'm looking at your tenses, right? HR and English is very key. It's not maybe a role that you can just, get away with if you can't write properly. So ensure that your responsibilities are in the right senses, and it's not only your work experience that are there. Also, a good CV has achievements. You cannot underestimate what achievements can do for you. Achievements can make your CV a no to a yes. So for example, remember I said if someone advertises a role with 5 years experience and you have 4, typically I will not shortlist someone with 4 years experience. But if your achievements are very sound, like those of like someone that has even 6 or 7 years experience, even if you have 3, I can take it. Why? Because you're able to show me that you are an exceptional candidate. So this is what an achievement will do for you. A bad CV has, I won't say bad, but for people who want to have faith. So you see on Twitter, oh, I got a job that I put 10 years experience, I didn't have. The person will tell you what the person did to get that job. But, achievement is something that can help you. And then you ask yourself, like I said, I'm an entry-level HR professional, or I do not have, donkey years of experience. What can I put in my achievements? You have something. That's why you're even, nobody see, if you don't have something to offer, then why should I pay you? So if you're not able to sort out that within yourself, then you need to actually sit down and have a rethink. Achievements like I said, use uni achievements, use church achievements, use mosque achievements, use club achievements. You're part of maybe, what's this club? All the social clubs anyway, that you did this or you did that, or probably you planned something for your friend or a small thing. Use it. They count. If I advertise for an entry-level role, I'm not expecting you to have donkey experience anyway. I'm not expecting you to know it all. I'm just expecting you to have the basics, or someone that I feel will be easier to work with. Also, a good CV does not contain irrelevant information. Like I always say, when people ask me, should I put my age? Should I put my date, where I'm from? See, I know that Nigerians can be Nigerians and will refuse to move forward. But these are things that can sabotage, they can cause prejudice. For example, right? Maybe let me just say, maybe I had one boss, for example, that is from Ondo State. Or I've heard someone say, I hate Ishan people. They are very wicked. Maybe because their mother-in-law, somebody is very wicked. So you now put in CV, the first thing I see, you're from Edo State and you're an Ishan lady, or you're from Ondo State. Do you understand? Some people who may have not grown past that may prejudge you without even knowing you. So there are some things you cannot change. You know yourself, you are good, you're not like other people from your state. But you really can't determine the emotional intelligence or how sound the person I'll be shortlisting your CV would be. So why shoot yourself in the foot? Remove nationality, maybe if you're applying for international jobs, fine. Remove your date of birth. Trust me, I can calculate your age from when you finish school. I don't need to know your exact age. But if the first thing I'm seeing, so for example, you are coming in as an entry-level HR person, there's some people that basically prejudge people that are too young. See, because you are 19 or you are 21 does not mean you can't do the job. You may have finished school at the age of, you might have entered uni at 14 or 15 and finished early. And then people tend to prejudge you just because you put 1999 there or 2001. Some people just open the CV. Actually, this person is even a child. Next. Why? You're the one that just shot yourself in the foot. At least get to an interview and let them see the stuff you are made of. So I always tell people, remove your age. Really, I don't need it. If I need it, I would ask you. Remove, what else do I say? Your local government, your religion. What if this person hates this thing and the organization doesn't hate the person? So remove all of that crap that's not necessary. In your bio, for me, even your gender, gender is fine anyway, because you can't change that. So if anyone wants to prejudge because you are female or because you are male, then good riddance anyway. And the last thing, a good CV has training and certifications there. Like I said, if I'm recruiting or I'm shortlisting for an entry-level HR person, I want to see the effort you've made. I remember my first interview, I studied chemical engineering, and the job I put out is in HR. I was interviewing people that started CIP, graduate of chemical engineering, 2-month volunteering experience. I don't how did I get shortlisted? I remember, during the interview, I was asking him, I think I did a course analysis for free. So before I was going to transition, I Googled, free courses. I wasn't working, so I couldn't really afford to pay for anyone. So I saw that Alison was free, and I did it, and I put it on my CV. And so when they were asking me some questions, I was able to answer at least a bit to the basic level of HR. And I was quite impressed that, okay, this person that, had made an effort. So do courses on Coursera, Udemy, go for physical trainings, consulting firms do all this intro to HR and all of that. That can, boost your chances also. And CIPM also, you can start doing CIPM. It's very, very key. At least it makes you stand out. It doesn't guarantee you a job anyway, but it shows the effort you put into transitioning to HR. So basically that's good versus bad CV. Now, like the third thing, like I said, I'll be looking at practical CVs. Now, which better CV would I use than mine? So that's what I'm going to use. I launched my CV, and this is going to be like a practical class. At least I couldn't find an HR professional CV that I had to get permission to use. So I just decided to use this. So we can see from the beginning. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Yewande. Hi.
Okay, so
have
the first thing,
5 minutes. Sorry.
Okay, I'm already in my last slide anyway.
Okay.
So this is the last thing. The first thing is your name, and then I decided to put, so this under is like a summary of kind of roles I can go for. I'm working as technical recruiter and also an HR business partner. You can see my location. I didn't put my address. So this is me, right? Because there are a lot of scammers out there. You need to know that I live in Lagos, right? So I live in Lagos, Nigeria. Sometimes you can try to go further and put Ojodu, Ikeja, VI. Why? Some people apply for scam interviews. And I'm always saying this, you really don't know who you're sending your CV to. You have a good ad, but what if somebody doesn't, or somebody puts out a very useless job ad? Anyway, your email, your telephone, then put your LinkedIn profile also if your profile is up to date. So this is like a summary of my profile, right? Then I put my area of expertise and skills. Like I said, this for 8 years. Some organizations use 8 years. It helps your CV go through. So some keywords that are in CV. So again, this is not my only CV. This is not like my stamped CV anyway. This is just like an example, and I tweak it based on whatever. Then I put, languages spoken. Depending on if you can speak French, please put it there because it's an advantage, especially for multinational organizations, or if you are also applying to organizations outside Nigeria. Right. So this is just like a summary of a profile. I just want you to go through it. You can watch it if you want. Please don't copy my profile. This is not my exact profile, but please do not copy. It's for you to probably modify later. Then, so the academic qualification part, please see how well formatted it is. Your year, I marked that out. Your uni, don't put, some people put qualification, school, they now go back and put qualification, and you have me scrolling. So if you have like 2 and above, you can put it. If not, please just yank that out. Your secondary school is fine. You don't really need to go to primary school. Then certifications, trainings attended, most recent. That's what I put. I've had lots of trainings anyway. Well, do LinkedIn learning trainings and put it there. It gives you a bit of an advantage. Okay, then. Thank you very much for your time. Any question, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. I use my name, Yewande Jinadu, anyway. Okay, then.
Thank you very much, Yewande, for that amazing session. Thank you for the nuggets that you shared. I think we have a question or two in the chat box. But before we get there, I just want to reiterate a couple of things that she shared that are really key highlights that we should really pay attention to when we're applying for jobs. Remember, she said that you should ensure that your CV matches the job description, but not 100%, but at least ensure that you have the necessary skills that are needed for the role. Otherwise, the applicant's tracking system is going to yank you out and you probably will not get beyond that. So ensure that if you have years of experience, state your professional, put that in your professional summary, and which talks about things that you've done, while your career objective talks about things that you are yet to do, things that you want to do. Okay, so that's talking about the future. So remember also to highlight your soft and technical skills. Highlight your soft and technical skills when you're in your CV. Those things will help you get recognized and put you at the front of the recruiting, at the forefront for the recruiter. Okay, state your achievements. That will work well for you. If you don't have the necessary level years of experience needed for the role, that will also work well for you in your favor. So those are some of the highlights that I got from, those are some of my highlights from my session. I really appreciate it. So these are practical skills, tips that are useful for anyone, no matter your level of your level in the career, in your career, no matter where you are right now. These are things that are really relevant for you. So we have a question from Henry Tabansi, who says, can you shed a bit more light on HR certification, CIPM, and so on?
Okay. So CIPM is like the governing body for HR in Nigeria. CIPD is the one for London. Then for US, you have HRCI and SHRM. So for CIPM, without experience, even if you have secondary school, it's like ICANN for HR. You can actually do the program. You move from intermediate one. It has levels and stages. You can just Google CIPM Nigeria. I think their website is cipmnigeria.org to get more information on how you can do the certification. You do it in stages anyway. If you have a background in business administration, you start from intermediate 2. If not, if you have a master's, you can start from P1 and all of that. If not, I started from intermediate 1 because I don't have that background. Then for HRCI, without experience, you have to do APHRI. If you have about 2, you can do PHRI. Then if you have about 5 years, you can do SPHRI. SHRM too, I think you should be able to do also. That's for US anyway. And you can also try CIPD also if you have lots of money. It costs a lot for international certification. But you can start with CIPM. You can pay, it's in stages, so you can do that in stages. So I recommend that. Hope I've answered your question.
Yes, thank you very much. So we have another question here, which says, from Juliet Chima, she says, does writing one's responsibilities in past tense suffice for achievements?
So responsibilities differ from achievements. Responsibilities are what you're doing, right? So you work as let's say as a PA, right? Your responsibilities is to book the schedule of the CEO, to do this, to do that. Achievements for a PA, for example, could be like, I don't know, probably helped. I don't. Let me use HR anyway. Achievements for an HR professional could be, reducing turnover, optimizing the performance management process, helping to recruit talent, reducing like time for hire and all of that. Responsibilities are what are you doing? So I'm coming to work, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So does writing responsibility in past tense? No, it doesn't. Past tense responsibilities are for past experiences. That's if you're not on the job. Achievements are what you achieved. So helped the organization to reduce cost by 10%. It's like past tense. I think achievement should be in past tense anyway. You are not helping the organization to reduce cost. Helping the organization to reduce cost is like responsibilities if you're on the role. Hope you understand. So past achievement should be in past tense, but responsibilities that are present should be in present. I don't know if you understand, but I don't think it suffices.
Right, thank you very much for that. We have one more question from Olamide. Olamide is asking, if we have to put in as much information as necessary, what's the maximum number of pages that a CV must have?
So there's no rule to CV writing. Trust me, this is my own version of CV. You would contact another recruiter and say, this is what I like. So I would say don't give yourself too much headache on following all the rules. Just ensure that it's okay. Now, for an entry level, saying that for an entry level, it's weird for you to have 5-page CV. 1 to 2 is okay. 2 pages max is okay, right? For a senior professional or someone that has experience, 3 max of maybe if you now have PhD and masters and all of that. But I would recommend 1 and 2 for an entry level. I mean entry level 0 to 2, 3 to 5, 1 to 3 of max 4 pages.
Okay. Another question from Oluwatobi Adeoye. Says, at what stage do you need to start getting certification, especially for graduates just entering the system?
At what stage? At any stage, right? There's really no law for when you can actually get certifications. You can, if you want to. For me, when I started, the year I started is when I actually started CIPM. I didn't wait. I think the month I actually started working, I registered for CIPM. So I would advise at the beginning, you start. Because CIPM, for me, I didn't even study HR. So I even needed to do it to even understand the theory part. Even if you studied HR, it's also good because it makes it more practical for you. So I would say at the beginning.
Okay. Thank you. And then the final question from Adebanke Ipadeola. Sorry for that. So she's asking, she's asking, for an individual interested in HR internship, does the achievements have to be in line with HR alone?
No, it can be in line with your skills. So like I said, if you put one of your skills as leadership, you put one of your skills as administration, because admin also helps you, administrative skills also help you to be an effective HR professional. Organizational skills help you to be an effective HR professional. Communication skills helps you. So achievements that highlight or throw more light on the skills you say you have, yes, are very key. Because if you don't have the experience, you really can't say you've achieved a reduced turnover, but it kind of like puts more light to your skills. I think that's my response.
Okay, so do you have time? Okay, so let's just quickly take one more question because oh no. Okay, so we don't have much time again. What we're going to do is we're going to compile the questions and then forward it to Yewande. So maybe towards the end of the session, we could maybe run through any other random question if you have enough time. But I'd like to say thank you very much for your time. Yewande, it's been a pleasure having you. I'm sure we've learned a lot, and we know how to properly craft our CVs now. We know how to craft it well so that it's optimized and it gets past the applicant tracking system and at the front of the recruiter. So I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Nonso. Nonso, hello. I'm handing over to Nonso now. Thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thank you, Nebechi, and thank you very much, Yewande, for that nice session. Okay, so I will now introduce our next speaker. I'll just share my screen now. Okay, so Victoria is a certified balanced Victoria is a certified balanced scorecard professional, fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants, fellow, Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management, and associate member of the Chartered Institute of Personal Development, UK. She's also a certified management consultant from the Institute of Management Consultants and a chartered human resource consultant from the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management. She has an MSc in Human Resource Management from the Aberdeen Business School, Robert Gordon University, Scotland, UK, and is a versatile HR professional with core HR and consulting experience. She is also a graduate of Mass Communication from the Kogi State University, Ayimba. Victoria received professional tutelage at Ashio Savings and Loans PLC, FHA Mortgage Bank, and Nexia Agro Abel & Co. She had a rewarding career spanning over 15 years in these firms, where she rose to the position of Director, Human Resources and Strategy. During her time with these organizations, she carried various assignments, involving numerous clients in the private and public sectors, as well as not-for-profit organizations. She is a member of the following professional bodies: Chartered Institute of Personnel Development, Institute of Professional Managers and Administrators of Nigeria, Institute of Public Management of Nigeria, Balanced Scorecard Institute USA, Institute of Management Consultants Nigeria, Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management. Her core experience cuts across management consulting, balanced scorecard, human resource management, operations, performance management, corporate management, health and safety, change management, organization development, team building, and strategy. Some of the sectors she has worked in are manufacturing, construction, banking, real estate, oil and gas, agriculture, NGOs, local and international, religious organizations, health, technology, financial services, trading, media, and public sector, amongst others. She is currently the lead consultant of a HR consulting firm, Strategic Workforce Solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Victoria Akoji Omale. Hi, Victoria.
Hello, Nonso, and good evening, everybody. I hope we can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for having me this evening. Let me quickly just go into my slides and share my screen. Just a minute, please. Okay, so this evening I've been asked to carry out a quick assignment on to discuss with us about internships, and I decided to call it Internships, a Pathway to HR. So a lot of us, I understand that we have like a range of people who are here this evening for the session. So we have those who are trying to, just start our career in HR. We're freshers, we've just finished, we now want to move into HR. We have those of us who have had years of experience, maybe doing business development, customer service, and we now want to transition into HR. So we have a mix of different people. And internships has come to be something that we have found out over time that is a very strong tool with regards to putting your foot in the door, to create that opening for you when it comes to building a career. So while coming up with this presentation, I just, conducted some research, and I wanted to see even how internships began. And we realized that internships began many years back. It started from the concept of apprenticeship. So even these days, I know we still have the ideas of apprentices where people are still working, and then you serve your master for some number of years. And then after those years, you now get, they have, is it freedom, they call it. And then after freedom, you proceed to your own business and all of that. And apprenticeships or what was being practiced for a long time. And then along the line, internships now came to be. Organizations decided to start buying into that idea. The title intern, sorry, I'm just trying to give us a background first. The title intern was from, it started, I think, about World War I, where medical doctors who didn't have licenses to practice were called more like doctors in training, so they called them interns. So that name has now entered the business environment. That's how the concept of internship came about. So I have a brief, that was basically it, of how internships began. So experts generally agree that in the largest sense, internships descended from professional apprenticeships, which I just talked about. The modern concept of an internship has advanced from just the apprenticeship to something a lot more over time. Now, internships have now involved, they can be part-time, they can be full-time, they can be paid, they can be unpaid, they can be short-term, they can be long-term, they can be virtual. Internships before now, people knew internships to be for students. I remember a time, even in school, I studied mass communication, so they'll tell you to go and intern. So I went to different media houses and I went out. And the truth is that within those periods, I learned a lot. I learned editing, I understood journalism and all of that, but it was for a period of time. So internships always have a time frame, whether it's short term or long term, there's always a time frame that is attached to it. And with COVID now on ground, there's now the virtual angle. So internships have now also involved. Some organizations, especially those in investment banking, they have what we call, it's like a pre-internship, they call it insights. So what they do is that instead of people coming into their organization for the 3 months or the 1 month, it may just be once a week. You may not even have to come into their environment. It can be virtual. But during that period, people learn. And then they learn, and then from that, they can now proceed into internships. The concept of internship, bottom line, is learning. Okay, that's one thing I want us to understand. So what is internship? I like to do definitions a lot. So an internship is an opportunity offered by an employer to potential employees. So in this instance now, we're calling them interns because in the long run, sometimes interns turn out to become employees, and then it's for a fixed period of time. Now, the concept of internship is that it's meant to carry work and then integrate it with learning. So you're working, but you are actually learning. So during that period, it's essential that people, when they go for internships and they are within that internship program, you have clear goals. You have specifics. What am I supposed to achieve within this 1 week or within these 2 weeks or within the 1 month? You have specifics. So is work integrated, but is the whole idea is that you learn in the process. Now, internships are meant to improve your knowledge, and then it's meant to improve your skills. Internships are meant to have learning plans and outcomes which can be effectively monitored and measured. I'm very particular about monitoring and measurement. So internships help you. By the time you go into the environment, you know that, okay, I didn't have any idea about employee relations, but at the end of these 3 months, these are the outcomes. These are the things that I'm meant to have understood and be able to practicalize at the end of this internship period. And then another thing, sorry, 1 second. About internships is that they promote academic, personal, and professional development. So whether it's that you're doing it for school purposes, remember I talked about me as an individual during school, it adds value to you. If you are doing it personally just because you want to learn, for example, maybe it's just for the purpose of breaking, so it's personal, I just want to learn, fine, it adds value to you. If you want to build a career in HR, it adds value to you in the long run. So at the end of the day, remember what we said, internship is all about learning. It always adds value to you. Now, what are the benefits of internships? Number one is that it gives you a foundation. At least you now have a clear understanding of what HR is about. It gives you a foundation. It builds your CV, just like what the previous speaker, Yewande, was talking about. It helps you to build your CV. If you have a lot of work experiences, internships, 3 months, 6 months within different environments, and you haven't really had a full-time work experience, what happens is that your internship automatically gives you an edge over any other person who is applying for that role. So it helps you to build your CV. During internships, you are able to network. You meet people. Even if they do not retain you, as long as you are able to perform effectively within that environment, they will definitely recommend you to people. You meet people, during that process. You learn new soft skills. During that period, you may get opportunities to make presentations, to write memos, to do different things. You learn new soft skills, and then you learn new technical skills. Now, you know, HR cuts across different aspects. There's payroll, some people call it pay and compensation. There's employee relations, there's talent management, there's performance management. Now, each internship experience, you can go and then you learn, for example, employee relations. At the end, you get an opportunity, you learn recruitment. You know, what happens is that you are adding to your technical knowledge or your technical skills. And then by the time you have gone through those different ones, you now know whether you want to be a HR generalist or you just want to be a specialist in a particular field. So that's the other advantage that it gives you. And then it helps you to acquire industry knowledge and experience. Because an internship, you may work in different organizations. So me, for example, I have had the opportunity to work in different environments. Now, I'll tell you that while HR may be a bit general, there are things that are specific to some environments. So it adds to your knowledge base. And then it helps you to gain confidence, because when you are speaking or when you are putting something together, you know that it's from a place of knowledge. So you have confidence in whatever you're putting forth. And then you never know, you may just, employers will always prefer to retain people who they have worked with, who they have seen over a period of time, than go out to go and find people and then gamble with it. Because, you know, we can, when you come for an interview, you come, you speak everything and you look very smart, but you don't know who that person is until he enters your environment. So an employer will rather gamble, permit me to use that, with you than to go and gamble with somebody else that they are not sure of will be able to deliver the way you have. The most important thing about it is that as long as you are able to put your best foot forward, you know, as long as you're able to apply yourself effectively, the likelihood of them retaining you is very high. If they do not retain you, the likelihood of you being recommended to another environment is also high. Now, let me use myself as an example. I went to, even though it's not internship, but I see that that period was meant to be like an internship. I got retained in a bank during my youth service. Okay, rather I got posted to a bank, and it was me and a friend of mine. My plan was to go into customer service, you know, or go and do business development, you know, and just meet people and, you know, and we were asked to be with the head of HR, who was just recruited at the time, for 2 weeks. And at the end of those 2 weeks, I was to be posted out to any of those 2 departments while my friend will remain in HR. What happened at the end of that period was I was the one who remained in HR. That's how my career started, because the way I enjoyed what I was doing at the end of that entire period was clearly more than my friend. My friend right now is now doing business development instead, you know. So they have tested me through that period, and then they have now decided to retain me. So how do I start? There are different consulting firms out there, you know, that are willing. You never know. Like I said at the beginning, internships can be paid, internships can be unpaid. So it depends on you. It depends on how serious you want it. I've seen people who have gone and have interned for free for a very long time, and then at the end of the day, when they finally get a job somewhere else, you would wonder how it happened. It's because of the various skills that the employers found in them. You know, so there are different consulting firms. You can apply to them, tell them that, you know, even if it's for a certain period, for free, you can start that way. When people get value from you, especially if they are good people, permit me to say that, over time, they tend to pay you for it. But what is important is that it is you that is learning. The value is being added to you. The thing about experience is that nobody can take it away from you, you know. So if you get an internship, go online, look for different organizations. Some people don't even know that they want interns. Tell them you can come, you can intern for them for the next 3 months and all of that. And then you may just get lucky with that. For the purpose of this, I'm willing to maybe about 3 or 4 people. It may just be 1 week, one week each. I can take some people who are interested in seeing what internship is all about. I do a lot of consulting. I have different client sites. I can take you along with me so that you see how it's done. I'm willing to do that for the purpose of this. So I don't know how the coordinators or the organizers are going to do that, but let me say 5 people at different times, we can organize something so that you can see how the internship actually works. And there are many consulting firms like mine, many of them like mine, who will be willing to do that. So, and like I said, in the long run, a lot of them turn out to retain you. So in conclusion, number 1 is that it is never too late to be an intern. Whether you have had 15 years in your career or you are just starting, it is never too late to be an intern. I know about a medical doctor right now. He has had about 17 years experience, right? He works in a different environment, but he is currently interning at National Hospital. Currently, there was a time he even had to take his leave to go and intern. It's adding to his knowledge. Okay. Number 2, internship is an investment in your future. You're adding to you. It is real world experience. That's the thing about internship. It is about you at the end of the day. It's what goes in and nobody can ever take it away from you. So you go out there, you meet a good boss, you meet a bad boss, you meet an ugly boss. It's real world experience. It gives you hands-on experience within a working environment. For those of us who have not had working experiences, for example, it's an opportunity to understand what structure is all about. Okay, it helps you to test drive possible jobs and then to explore different career options. Remember what I talked about. It could be as a HR generalist, it could be as a specialist. And even for those of us who are not necessarily in HR, it's an opportunity for you to try it in other careers, especially if you're just beginning your career. And then the last thing I would want to say, because I'm trying to round up my session, is that whether an internship is paid for or not, the bottom line is that it does not change its value. An internship is always valuable. So on a lighter note, I had somebody who was living with me, a relation, who was getting married. He had rented his apartment and he wanted to, and it was like 2 weeks to his wedding. So he said, oh, he'll wait until, he's married and then he can now move in. I said, no, take this one as a learning period. Go there and go and stay. When you drive into your compound, you're meant to close the gate. When you get to your house, you're meant to switch off the lights because of NEPA bills. You know that you can't do certain things anymore. You begin to take responsibility. You need to learn it before you bring somebody into your house. Honestly, he was grateful for it. That was his own internship, in my house. So I just said I was going to add that. Anyway, so I think that's just basically it in a summary. It's just supposed to be about 20, 25 minutes. I just needed to quickly go through it. So I'm available for any questions that you may have, and then I can clarify any other thing that you need me to clarify. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Victoria, for that. That was a lot of information. Thank you so much. And I hope we all gained a lot of value from the few minutes that Victoria spoke with us. So I will just look and see if we have any questions in the chat box. You kind of blew up the chat box by agreeing to take like 5 people. There are a lot of volunteers in the chat room. So thank you for that. We really appreciate it.
No problem. I would find a way around it. I don't know. But,
okay,
yes,
so
you guys, the organizers, like I said, yes. So any questions?
Okay, so one question. Some HR internship roles pay less than you earn, while some are unpaid. What if you want to intern for HR roles, you have experience, but not up to 1 year, and you still don't want to earn less? What would you advise such a person?
To be very, very honest with you, at the end of the day, it's about choices. Because you know what you know how badly you want it, right? Me, any day, to be honest with you, I would rather any day take experience. I was speaking somewhere yesterday and I told them that I know a lawyer. We hired a lawyer somewhere some years ago. She worked in a firm for about 10 years and she was earning 35,000 naira. As at the time we wanted to hire her, we were talking of well over 450,000. She had paid her dues. I'm not saying that you should stay in an environment for that long, but experience, always remember that experience is always a plus. It is never a minus. I have taken a pay cut before because of the role I was going to be given. I looked at the opportunity I was going to get from that environment. And I looked at where I was at the time. I was earning more, but it was a case of being there, done that, nothing additional. This was going to be a new challenge for me, right? So based on that, I said, let the cut happen, no problem. The bottom line is I'm going to add value. And that was the exciting part for me. It opened an entire career for me and it changed a lot of things for me. You know, nobody can buy your experience. Always remember that. So if you have less than 1 year experience, I understand the angle of, you know, you're looking at paid and all of that is very essential. For me, I would always say experience, but you know your pocket. So it's your decision at the end of the day.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that response. And I hope that is clear to you, Ozioma. So what she's saying basically is this point in time should, and that's an advice anyways, not that it's a must, but that is the advice.
Yes.
Okay, so we don't have any
Okay,
other
Ozioma, you're
questions.
welcome.
Okay, so thank you very much, Victor. Okay, thank you very much, Victoria. We appreciate your time. Thank you. So now we would move on to our next speaker. So Remy, over to you, please.
Thank you, Nonso, and thank you and good evening to everyone for being a part of this meeting tonight. So we're moving to our next session, which is on how to sell yourself to recruiters and potential employers. So we've heard about CVs and we've heard about where to look for internships. And well, putting it together is coordinating other aspects of how we make ourselves visible to employers. So we'll be having Abosede Ogundiyun as our next speaker. Abosede, please, can you confirm if you can hear me? Good evening.
I hear you loud and clear. Hello, Remy. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Okay, so permit me to share Abosede's profile. Just give me a few seconds to project our profile as we have it on our record. Okay, Abosede is a passionate HR business professional with multinational experience in the human resources field. She studied biochemistry at the University of Lagos and then went on to graduate from the prestigious Lagos Business School with an MBA with focus on human resource. She's an indigenous human resource personnel who is great at developing and managing multi-level relationships. She began her career with 3TF, an indigenous payroll provider to small businesses where she was responsible for the human resources function. She later moved on to Promasido, Nigeria, where she grew from supervisor to an assistant manager responsible for different aspects of human resources within the business, including talent acquisition, employer branding for the group in South Africa. Her last role was in Beiersdorf Nivea, the multinational skincare giant, where she was responsible for the human resource function in the factory operation in Nigeria, and through her engagement on LinkedIn and exceptional communication skills. She was able to put the Central, East, and West African region, of which Nigeria is a part, on the global platform. As a member of the leadership team of the factory, she was also responsible for optimizing the return on investment on human capital. Abosede currently works with the UAC Group, where she leads the Human Resource Department at Portland Paints Products. She holds a professional certification in human resources, that is the PHR qualification from, from Human Resource Certification Institute, HRCI, as well as professional in Human Resource International. Okay, I'm having a bit of a challenge to scroll down. Okay, so, you can see the rest of what I have on that slide on the screen. So please join me to welcome Abosede to our e-podium this evening to talk to us on how to make ourselves visible to potential employers. Abosede, please, you have the floor. So I'll stop sharing now.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me this evening. Please confirm you can hear me, Oluremi.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you to the Covenant Nation for this opportunity. I do not take it for granted. And I'll be talking to you today about how to sell yourself to recruiters and potential employers. The great thing is Yewande and Victoria have done a great job in setting the stage, because everything you need to have a beautiful LinkedIn profile have already been discussed. If you have a perfect CV, it should be replicated to a very large extent on LinkedIn. And if you've had any sort of internships, even though you don't have work experience, all of those things should already be on your LinkedIn profile. So thank you so much, Yewande and Victoria, for the job well done. So without further ado, I will tell you a little bit about myself. I'll tell you about how to start, incidentally, and a little bit about my story and what LinkedIn has done for me personally. So I usually ask a lot of young people who come to me and say they're looking for a job, they have searched and nothing is happening. The first question I ask is, do you have a LinkedIn profile? And they're like, some people are like, what is that? And then I go ahead to ask, do you have a Snapchat account? Of course, the answer is yes. Do you have a Facebook account? Yes. Do you have an Instagram account? Yes. And you're looking for a job. How on earth do you not have a LinkedIn profile? I don't know if you intend to get a job from Snapchat or Instagram and you spend so much time on there, and how come for some reason you do not have a LinkedIn account? So basically, I'll be taking you through how to build your LinkedIn profile from scratch, and I'll show you my LinkedIn profile as well, just like Yewande has done with her CV. What's better way to tell you about LinkedIn than to start with my profile? So a little about myself. I work with UAC, it's already mentioned in my profile. When I am not working, I like to watch Netflix. And I also like to eat a lot, which is why I have food there. And then I have 4 lovely cats that keep me company in my house. That is my favorite cat, Shadow, right there. That's a little about me. So going into the topic for today, how do I start? Basically, like I mentioned, you already have the basis, you already have the background from what Yewande has shared. How do you then transfer all of these things to LinkedIn? So how do I start? First of all, who am I? Am I a risk taker? Am I shy? Am I outgoing? All of these questions, I'll explain why it comes in handy. What am I a subject matter expert in, and what are my other interests? Incidentally, these days, a lot of LinkedIn features now replicate some of the things we have on Instagram and also other social media platforms. So for example, you can now post videos on LinkedIn. They have a lot more emojis than they used to. So basically, how do you start with your LinkedIn profile? I got this list right off the internet, so I'll just go through it using my personal experience to explain it to you. Set up a profile for good search engine optimization. Yewande mentioned the fact that your CV should have keywords. Also on LinkedIn, your LinkedIn profile should have keywords. So for example, if I want to look for a HR intern, for example, I just go on the search box and maybe type in HR intern, or these days people like to write a lot about HR enthusiast or HR analyst. So if for any reason you have already put in your LinkedIn profile and those keywords are not there, then definitely you won't come up in my search. So set up a profile to ensure you have very good search skills or keywords. Then sell yourself in your job description. Again, in your description, Yewande already mentioned having, there's a way she put it, there's the professional summary and the career objective. What is your career objective? This is where you sell yourself. What do you hope to achieve? You hope to be the #1 human resource professional in Nigeria. What is it? Tell us about yourself in that short description. Also engage with others. So engage with others basically if you don't have content to post. Are you liking other people's posts? Are you sharing their posts? What else are you doing on there? The same way you go to Instagram and view other people's content and like and share and whatever it is you do, you should do the same on LinkedIn. Engage with others. Request recommendations. I will share with you my profile, like I mentioned. Recommendations, what recommendations do for you, especially if you're a beginner in the HR world, is that it shows that other people value your experience or other people can vouch for you. So for me, for example, what I do after I have worked in a place for 6 to 8 months, usually I try to be confirmed first. That is proof of concept, proof of the fact that I'm good at what I do. Then I request for a recommendation from the most senior person in my department. So if for any reason you're looking for a HR person and then you see my LinkedIn profile and you go through my recommendation, by the time you see the caliber of people who have recommended me, then you know that obviously I must know what I'm doing for these people to recommend me. So please feel free to request recommendations. If you had internships like Victoria discussed, at the end of your internship, request recommendations from the people you worked with and say, okay, I have finished now. Please say a word or two about the quality of my work on LinkedIn. Use call to action. Sometimes these days on LinkedIn, you have chats, you have graphs, people ask questions. Use those things to engage with the LinkedIn community. The aim of LinkedIn is basically to showcase, it's like your personal advert space. After you have done the perfect CV, after you have done those internships, how do you showcase yourself to potential recruiters? So leverage videos, write articles, include your skills. So basically everything you have in your CV, there is a portion on LinkedIn where you can put all of these things to ensure that you are visible and you are in the face of recruiters when the opportunity does arise. And I know for a fact from several sessions I've had with Yewande in question, she always mentions, you don't use email addresses like fineboy@yahoo.com and those funny email addresses. The same way for LinkedIn, choose your profile picture strategically. Yes, we know you like to have fun, but I'm not sure LinkedIn is a place where your headshot is one where you're at the beach or in a very funny setting. Try and take a professional headshot. These days, all you need is your phone and a white background, and you can get a very good professional headshot by yourself. Then accept connection requests. Somehow, when you accept people in your space, people above you, people in your peers in the same industry, it also helps your visibility. There's a function in LinkedIn that says people also viewed. So sometimes after you have created your profile, go and check people who viewed you and other people they are viewing. So for example, there was a time where people who viewed me also viewed people in marketing. So I realized that a lot of my content was tending towards the marketing space. So I tried to tailor it more towards human resources. But generally, I'm a human resources person who is passionate about my brands. So I tend to do a lot of marketing activities on whatever company I'm working for at the point in time. So that also helps in ensuring that the people who are viewing you, the recruiters, know exactly what space you are playing in. So this is just a little about how do I start. I hope to round up really fast so you have time for questions. Okay. Next are general rules for your LinkedIn profile. Update your profile and make it search engine friendly. So basically, I try to update my profile every 3 to 4 months. Not necessarily because I'm looking for a job at this time, but somehow you tend to forget what you have done. But if you have done something recently, you concluded a project, just concluded an internship, find a way to update it in your CV. So, and then after you update your CV, update your LinkedIn profile, because these days people just go online and then if they feel for any reason your LinkedIn profile is not up to date, then they ask you for an updated CV. But these days, your LinkedIn profile may just be your first foot in the door of HR. So make sure you update your LinkedIn profile often. Be courteous. I say this, or I agree with this majorly because there was a time that on LinkedIn, there was this whole, what would I call it? There was this whole crusade about, how human resources people can be mean, and, HR managers do this, HR managers do that. Be cautious. You never know who your comments will offend, and you may have just shot yourself in the foot with a weird comment that you put on LinkedIn. Never forget that the internet never forgets. So if there's something you're not sure about, or in a few years may come back to haunt you, then don't post it, or don't follow such people or engage in it. Then have your facts right. Stay in touch with people who matter. So you're trying to build a human resources career. Unlike Instagram and all the other social media, who are you following on LinkedIn? Are you following salespeople, or are you just accepting connection requests from people in a totally different career line? Yes, you should diversify your connections at some point, but when you are starting out your career, you have to be strategic in who you are connecting with. Stay in touch with people who actually matter. Then again, like I mentioned with being courteous, stay away from contentious topics. So basically, they're talking about bashing human resources managers, or they're talking about some company that has some weird practices. Once you do not have the facts of the matter, stay clear. There are many people who are posting neutral comments. Before you decide to engage, think about the future, or the kind of future you want to have in your online world. So ensure that you're staying away from contentious topics, and then above all, be authentic. So I say be authentic because your online persona should never be too different from who you are in person. So sometimes these days I've interacted with people on LinkedIn, you see their profile on LinkedIn, it is fantastic. And then you meet the person either through a phone interview, a Zoom interview, or even in person, and they're like night and day. And you almost feel defrauded, like how on earth did this person project themselves in this way, and then this is who they are. Sometimes it can really work against you. So as you build your LinkedIn profile, ensure that you are authentic. Authenticity is saying who you are to the best of your knowledge, and then tailoring it to fit into the world of work. So I'm not saying maybe if you like to eat, then you put it under your LinkedIn profile that you like to eat, but authenticity in your professional career. How can you be authentic? For example, I once connected with someone who became important later in my career over a cat post. So she posted about her cats and something weird. And as I just showed you, I have cats. And I was like, oh, this is such good content. And then we started chatting. And before you knew, we became very fast friends. So that was her being authentic. And because I have interest in cats, it was easy for us to connect. So by that, her authenticity of sharing something about her cat, even in a professional network like LinkedIn, it helped us connect. And the good thing, like I mentioned, LinkedIn is starting to have other features that other social media are having, but be careful not to overly share personal details on LinkedIn, because eventually it is still a professional platform. Okay. Then benefits of having a solid LinkedIn profile. First of all, you establish yourself as knowledgeable. Like we have mentioned earlier, a lot of people on this call may have 0 to 2 years experience, or 2 to 3 as the case may be. But like I mentioned in the beginning, who are you and who do you want to be? For example, I once hired someone from LinkedIn because she talked about the project she did in her final year. So just talking about, she studied human resources, and she talked about how, her final year project was about working spaces, and how she believes if your workspace is neat and tidy and clean, it has a way of impacting employee productivity. And from that conversation, I got interested and I decided to chat with her. And one thing led to another, and we worked together. First, she started off as an intern again, like Victoria mentioned. She started off as an intern and then has now gone on to do super great things. So when you have a solid LinkedIn profile, when recruiters see your profile, you establish yourself immediately as being knowledgeable. And like Yewande mentioned, just the same way you will craft your CV, knowledgeable doesn't mean that you must have had 50 years work experience. What did you do in church? What did you do in your social gatherings? What did you do in your social settings? What did you do even as a family? Do you organize the end of year family party if you have one? Always look for transferable skills that you can use to update your LinkedIn profile. And secondly, solid LinkedIn profile will ensure that you're top of mind for recruiters. So sometimes even when a recruiter doesn't have a role at that time, when you are fond or when you often share engaging content, then they put you in mind. I have so many people on my top of mind list that if maybe a role opens up now in sales or in marketing, there are some people that I know I would go to first to say, are you interested in this role? Because of the content they have posted often, the kind of things they say on LinkedIn, who they are on LinkedIn. So having a solid LinkedIn profile will ensure that you're top of mind. It gives you the kind of visibility you need to move your career in the right direction. And then finally, a good LinkedIn profile will give you recognition. So whilst most of us on this call may be looking for jobs, there are many other things that can happen. For example, I think I met Yewande Jinadu on LinkedIn before we eventually met, and we've gone on to speak at different platforms together. So look beyond getting the job. What else can LinkedIn do for you? It can lead to an internship. It can even lead to a totally different career path than you assumed you want to do. It can lead to speaking engagements for a lot of people. So in the world of work these days, that there's so many things that people do, unlike the traditional careers that we were exposed to before now. There's so many online things that people do, and from just connecting with the right people on LinkedIn, you can open up yourself to a world of opportunities. Now talking about myself. So I have never gotten a job from LinkedIn, but I have hired several people from LinkedIn profiles. So generally, before I start to send maybe a vacancy to a recruiter, what I do first is just search on LinkedIn, go through people who have sent me messages, and then go through random profiles, because you never know, there are always diamonds everywhere scattered around. So whilst some of us on this call, you may even have a very good LinkedIn profile, you haven't gotten a job yet, I say to you, keep at it, keep ensuring that day in, day out, you're updating your profile, you're having comments, you're engaging with people who matter, you're chatting, you're showing yourself as knowledgeable in the LinkedIn space. And the good thing is LinkedIn is global. So you may be thinking about the Nigerian workforce, and then someone in the other part of the world sees this person and is like, oh wow, this is an interesting person I'd like to connect with and move ahead with my career. So onto my story. Basically, this is my LinkedIn profile right now. As you can see, I have my name, I have my position, I updated this to read open to work. So for those of you who are open to internships, there's this feature on LinkedIn that shows recruiters that you're open to work. Basically, you're looking for a job or you're looking for a new opportunity. So please feel free to update this aspect of your LinkedIn. Then about, Yewande already mentioned this. So about is what would be on your CV as your career objective. So I write that I'm a professional human resource generalist with experience in the major aspects of HR. I also mentioned authenticity. For example, I am not very good with payroll. It's a fact, it is what it is. And it's here on my profile. I'm a passionate human resource generalist with experience in the major aspects of HR, including talent acquisition and management, performance management, learning and development, employee engagement, employee branding, and a dash of payroll management. That's my own way of saying, if the job is fully payroll, don't call me, because all I know is a dash of payroll. So bringing my authenticity to what I do is stated right here on my profile. And like I mentioned, I'm passionate about all the brands I work with. So you can already see from my image here, it's the paints that I sell, Portland paints. I have a touch of love written here, showing that, okay, this is who I am. I'm a generally passionate person about what I do. Then the next aspect I mentioned about your experience, like Yewande said, your CV should be up to date with everything you have done. And in the same vein, this is my profile showing in my current role, the things I'm currently working on. So whatever it is I have done, my previous job and my day-to-day tasks. So if you go to my actual LinkedIn profile, you'll see my achievements at the end of it. Like Yewande mentioned, what you do day-to-day is different from your achievements. Your achievements are the things that have stood out. Okay, so day-to-day, you have done induction, you have brought in new people, you have shortlisted candidates. How did that help the business? So you can say, for example, my experience onboarding has ensured that we have minimal employee attrition, basically saying that because of the fantastic job I do at onboarding, employees who join us do not leave within their first 1 year because they hit the ground running, they know all about the business. So all of those things should be in your LinkedIn profile. Like I already mentioned, recommendations. So I am fine to put this here because I mean, my LinkedIn profile is open to everyone. So for example, this is my current COO at the UAC group. And I got this recommendation many years back when I worked with him in another career. So imagine that you're trying to hire me and you can see that my COO has given me a recommendation. That already says that for some reason, this girl must know what she's doing. And then the other person here was my head of HR at the time in another job, and she has also recommended me. What that also says is that if two heads of departments have recommended Abosede Ogundiyun, then maybe I should have a word with her. So these are things that would definitely make your LinkedIn profile pop. And the benefits for me as a person from my LinkedIn profile. So I use LinkedIn to increase the visibility of my organization. Like it was read in my profile, I basically took our organization from a followership of about 400 to over, at the time I left, over 3,000 followers. What that did for me was I was able to reduce my cost of employing people. So before then, when I joined the organization, when we had roles to fill, we would give the roles to recruiters. But the more people knew about my organization through my LinkedIn profile, when I post jobs, then people apply to the jobs and I don't have to use a recruiter anymore. So I saved the organization over 10,000 euros. With the exchange rate now, you know how much money that is. So these are the benefits basically that having an up-to-date LinkedIn profile did for me. And it eventually did lead to a promotion in my place of work. So you never know how long or how far-reaching the consequences of having an up-to-date profile will go for you. But I would enjoy you today if in any way you need any support, please reach out to me outside of this forum and I'll be happy to review your LinkedIn profile and let you know if there are areas you need to improve on. So like I mentioned, I want this to be short so we can all answer as many questions as possible. And I think finally, the last slide, this is the lady I mentioned I recruited from LinkedIn. Her name is Busayo. So she just posted about, and I know it's a little tiny, but it says, my undergraduate research topic was on the effects of employee retention. So basically a young lady posted about her end of school project. And it was very engaging. I just felt, oh wow, this lady must be really smart. And incidentally, at the same time, I was looking to hire an intern. And I just called her for a chat. And just from that profile, she went on to be an intern and got a job. And she's doing fantastically well. So you never know the extent to which this will take you. So that would be all. Thank you so much for listening. I will now take your questions.
Okay, thank you so much for that enlightening session. And I just want to share a bit of my own takeaway from this session, especially on all the aspects you touched on LinkedIn. They are like pointers that I would say they're like housekeeping, to be cautious, to be wary of, to stay away from contentious topics on LinkedIn, and also to be authentic. I hope that we all got something to take away from that session. And I believe they have shared the handles for our social media pages, and we want you to share your lens on these sessions that we've had today at those forums. So I'll just go to the questions that we have on for Abosede. Some of them I think you have answered mentioned something about them in the course of your presentation, so it might just be necessary to expatiate a little bit further on them. So the first one I have is, how do I ensure that recruiters find me on LinkedIn?
Okay, so like I already mentioned, it's about keywords and key phrases. So for recruiters who have the recruiter license, even if you don't have a recruiter license, all you have to do is type in the search box. So what is the title you have given yourself on LinkedIn? So even though maybe like I studied biochemistry, but now I'm in HR, even when I started off my career, I didn't put a biochemistry graduate. You see some LinkedIn profiles and that is the heading. So if you're searching for HR, there is no way I'll come up if I've put there a biochemistry graduate. So basically, even with no matter the experience you have right now, if you're looking to build a career in human resources, your tagline should be human resources something. Human resources analyst, human resources intern, open to human resources opportunities, something such that once you type the keyword, and if there's anyone here who is not looking to a human resources role, whatever it is that is that key thing that you want to do, then that should be the tagline, so that when anyone searches for it, it's easy to find you. So that's like the basic first thing you need to do. You need to be found. And then when people find you, ensure that your profile is up to date. So many people, you have the profile there, and beyond, you just see one-liners, University of Lagos, whatever primary school they went to, and maybe one line of skill. And then that tells me nothing about you. So I basically just move on to the next person who has a more updated profile. Okay.
Thank you very much. And I hope the person who asked that question have taken note of the response given. So the next one is, how can I build my profile to attract recruiters when I have little or no experience in HR?
Okay. So thankfully, like I mentioned, Yewande and Victoria have done a fantastic job in answering that question. So you do not have any experience in HR. Hopefully you have had some sort of internship, or you have transferable skills from whatever it is you have done. Like the last screen I shared, which is still up, I will go back to it real quick. The last image here, this is a fresh from Covenant University young lady who has shared about her final year project. She had no experience in HR. Do you understand? So what transferable skills do you have? Yewande mentioned it. What social clubs have you done anything in? So if, for example, you are the treasurer, you can put that as I'm able to manage so and so, whatever it is. So hopefully, if you are living and breathing, you have gathered some sort of transferable skills. So far, you even live in Nigeria and you have gone through the day-to-day of the hustle and bustle of being a Nigerian. There are things you can definitely put in your CV. So really, LinkedIn and having recruiters find you is about how you craft your learnings, how you craft what it is you have done in your small space. So if you've had internships, craft that internship and make it matter. Do not, LinkedIn is not the place to be overly humble. Like you understand, we're not saying you should lie, but you need to blow out your experiences. What is it you have done and showcase it on LinkedIn.
Thank you very much for that. And I'll take what appears to be the last question, which is, what are the things I can post on LinkedIn to attract HR recruiters?
Okay, so also like I had mentioned earlier, the things you can post are, they are varied, everything and almost anything. Like we mentioned, the world now has moved to a place where people post almost anything online, almost anything. So what you can post will range from your experiences, your general outlook to life. Then, for example, people also post about, so you've read about, let's say, employer branding. You read it's all theoretical. Then you go on there and hopefully you've spoken to the person before. I've had such experiences where a newbie in HR then says, oh, I read about employer branding. And then person sends and does an act. At Abosede, what do you think with your wealth of experience? That way you have pulled me into a conversation to talk about employer branding, which you may or may not know about. And then I can get my fellow HR colleagues in the industry to also weigh in. So that is one way. You can ask questions, you can read stuff and ask other people, or just post based on what you know, how you feel some things should be done. But like I already mentioned also in one of my slides, be sure to have your facts right. Don't go in bashing people or starting with a contentious topic. Ensure you stay clear of contentious topics. But these days, almost anything else is free to post. Like one of my images, we had like a product activation for one of our brands. And after that product activation, I went on to post the pictures. It looked like a fashion parade. But what I was trying to say in that post is that we have fun at work and we love what we do. And that was how I spun it. And it had over 12,000 views. So these days you can almost post everything. But as you start to post, you would see the kind of things that your audience want to listen to. Because when you post something and you have 1 or 2 views, you know, okay, maybe not so much. Then you post something else and you have 10 views, 15 likes, 10 comments, then you know, okay, maybe this is the sort of thing that my audience would like to listen to. So you can moderate. You don't get it right all at once. So the main thing is just start. When you start, then you get more familiar with what people would like to see.
All right. Thank you very much for your time and how much impartation you have deposited in us today. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming through for us. If any further question comes through, we'll find a way of getting them across to you and share the responses on the platform. Thank you very much. So we have come to the end of the sessions for today. So I will call on Victoria Oshunkoya to end the session, vote of thanks and all of that for us. Victoria? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Remy. Hello, everyone. I'm sure we've all had a wonderful time. Me personally, I've learned quite a lot from Yewande taking us on the CV, then Victoria taking us on how to get internship roles, and Abosede taking us on the LinkedIn optimization. So I'm sure everybody here has picked 1 or 2 things, and I can assure you that no matter how much you know before now, you know, when you see opportunity to learn, it's always important that you pick 1 or 2 things from whatever seminar or meeting or webinar you find yourself in. So thank you very much to the speakers, you know, on behalf of the Covenant Nation, the Covenant Nation and the HR professional community group. We want to thank you very much and thank you for your time. You know, it's not just about appearing here today. I'm sure that you must have spent some time, you know, to prepare the slides, to prepare for this seminar. I can actually relate with it, you know, no matter even if you have to speak for 20 minutes or 25 minutes or 30 minutes, it requires a whole lot of, you know, planning and preparing ahead of time for it. So thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate you. And I would like if everybody can, you know, unmute and, you know, just tell them thank you. Let's thank our facilitators.
Thank you so
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Victoria, you're muted. Victoria, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much,
so
everybody.
much. Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much. Very, very impactful. Thank you so much for your time. It is really, really appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you. I had fun. It was interesting and very enlightful. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I guess we've come to the end of the meeting. Thank you, everyone. We've dropped information on the internship opportunity on the group. So you can follow the instruction that was posted. And please, you can follow our social media handles that were also posted on the group. And you can follow all the facilitators and all the facilitators here, the host and the co-host also. You can find all the information on the group. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
We're done now.
Okay, we still have people.